Is Derrick James an elite level trainer? Well, we're gonna find out after this fight, and that's for sure. But there's a lot of things that needs to be put into question. Like for example, his most recently fight in Jermell Charlo versus Tony Harrison. I think there could have been done some adjustment in that fight. Some people think it was a robbery, but I think it was a very close fight. I think Jermell Charlo gave Tony Harrison the opportunity to land too many crisp shots, and by saying this is that I really believe Harrison was landing the more crispy shots. He was snapping Charlo's head all around the ring. Charlo couldn't get away from Harrison's snappy jab and Harrison's left. Period. He was hitting Charlo one after one again and again and again and again throughout the whole fight. Not seeing a damn adjusting from Charlo, and not that I know, I didn't see nothing from the corner. All I see from the corner is good job, you're doing good, or you need to do this, or but you could see an irritated Charlo. Like he knew he was looking bad, but we couldn't see anything from Derrick James to tell his fighter to adjust or try to come in another way, cut the ring, give me a little bit of head movement for Christ's sake, because most of these punches that he was landing was jabs and straight punches that you can only jab if your opponent is not moving his head, if your opponent is coming straight forward. So that's why we saw the Tony Harrison could do such a good job against Charlo, and it was a very, very competitive fight in which made Charlo look very bad, very ugly. Even though Charlo threw and landed a few more punches, it was Tony Harrison's sharpness that impressed the judges. And we can go back and forward whether it was a robbery or not. I think it was just a very, very competitive fight. Now, I believe if you are an elite level fighter, or in Derrick James' case, an elite level trainer, you shouldn't allow fighters like Tony Harrison get so close in a match. Fight you the way he fought you. You should not allow judges to question your greatness as a great champion or contender or top level fighter. An elite level fighter doesn't allow an opponent to do this type of things, especially if the opponent is not an elite level fighter himself. So this is what put Derrick James' elite level trainer status into a question. I mean, just think about it. All three judges gave the fight to Tony Harrison. So hey, it was a competitive fight. I don't know about a robbery. You got all judges once again giving a very similar scorecard in favor of Tony Harrison. So I mean, you can take it whatever way. Neither I think Jermell Charlo is an elite level fighter. I don't think Derrick James is an elite level trainer just yet. In order to be able to become an elite level trainer is to defeat another elite level fighter with an elite level trainer himself, or having a big amount of accomplishments or a big amount of fighters that he doesn't have yet. It's not that he does bad. I think he does great as a trainer. In fact, I had him as a 2017 trainer of the year. But it's easy to look good against opponents that are not the same caliber as your opponent. Now, this is not Derrick James' fault or his fighter's fault. But every other day you got special fighters that like to challenge themselves, and thanks to special fighters like that, we can have a real assessment in fighters like Errol Spence Jr. and trainers like Derrick James, and fighters also like Charlotte. I don't know what happened to Charlotte. That wasn't his best night, but for sure it wasn't on Derrick James' best night either. We didn't see him perform like we would have want him to perform. We didn't see him giving any type of adjustment advice to Charlotte like he should have. And he could say, "Oh, but we was winning. I didn't think we had to do that because we was winning for a long margin." But the scorecards showed, even if it was a robbery, let's say it was a robbery, but the scorecard and the punch test still showed that that it was a close fight, that you should have never allowed that fight to get that close. That if you're seeing your fighter having a hard time coming forward and cutting the ring, then you should address him that, and you should try to tell him to adjust that, and you should try to give him an advice on how to do it, not just do it. I hope that with Errol Spence Jr. in his upcoming fight against Mikey Garcia on March 16 on Showtime pay-per-view, I hope that he do adjustment himself and he doesn't allow this to happen again, because he need to recognize that Mikey Garcia is an elite level opponent that could expose Errol Spence Jr. for future bouts against, like, for example, the likes of Terence Crawford. Now, if we all know Terence Crawford will be tuning into this fight and see if he can capitalize on some of Errol Spence's mistake, because he know Mikey Garcia is gonna take advantage of all them situation, of all them mistakes. So that's what I'm saying, man. You can never allow a small fighter to do this thing to you and expose you like that to the world, because even though if you win, it might bite you back in the ass later on in your career when you start facing bigger opponents. So I hope Derrick James takes Mikey Garcia's ring IQ into consideration, so he can make all the proper adjustments along with his fighter Errol Spence Jr. so they can have a beautiful performance come March 16 2019 at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. And if you get this victory in a sensational way, then perhaps Derrick James is an elite level trainer.